As we've said over the course of this coverage, we will interject when we feel like there's something that's important and deliberate and very wrong that should be corrected, just so that we feel responsible about our broadcast. In this case, Governor Noem just said from Seattle and Portland to Washington and New York, Democrat-run cities across this country are being overrun by violent mobs. The violence is rampant. There's looting, chaos, destruction, murder. People that can afford to flee have fled. Joining us for more on that and to essentially run a reality check on that assertion is the mayor of the great city of Seattle, Jenny Durkan, who's joining us on short notice. Mayor Durkan, thank you very much for getting on.
Watch out, bro. Hey,
I wanted to ask your impression of those remarks from her.
So thank you for respond. I will say one thing. She is very stake, equality, freedom, and opportunity. And unfortunately, this president does not stand for any of those values. And her it's purposely wrong. I think she needs to get off Twitter and get off Fox News and come see our city. Seattle is
What the fuck is this shit? I just had my keys broken, stolen, got jumped, had my phone stolen, and these fucks let it all happen.
And as are their friends, we have our violent crime is down 5% this year.
During the Republican National Convention, Rachel Maddow took it upon herself to issue something of a reality check on Kristi Noem's statement about how many of the cities that are currently facing civil unrest are all run by Democrat mayors and governors. Naturally, of course, when I first heard this, I was a little bit perplexed. Is this not true? So the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle, the riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and Chicago, Illinois, and the 100-plus days of civil unrest in Portland, Oregon, all of it was an illusion? None of those cities are run by Democrat leaders? Next thing you know, you're going to be telling me that Antifa is just a myth.
There's violence across the whole country. Do you disavow the violence from Antifa? That's happening in Portland right now? There's riots.
That's a myth that's being spread only in Washington, D.C.
About Antifa in Portland?
Yes.
Sir, there's...
What? What are you talking about?
Once again, we're seeing Democrat leaders shirk all responsibility and pin all of the blame for everything that's going on Trump, with the help of the media backing them along the way. Jenny Summer of Love Durkan appeared on the call to emphasize that her ability to effectively serve as mayor in her city of Seattle had been hindered because of President Trump and his rhetoric.
Does it have a material effect on your ability to govern and Seattle's ability to get the resources that it needs for what the city needs to get done?
It did have an impact on this summer on some things because the president and Fox News were so insistent on driving that message that people started to come there to make the reality real.
And Ms. Durkan isn't the only mayor to echo this logic. From Mayor Lori Lightfoot in Chicago to Mayor Muriel Bowser in Washington, D.C., the story is always the same. Trump is somehow responsible for this. They won't let him have his way. They will fight him to the end. They will defend protesters and their right to protest so long as it isn't done in front of their house. Yeah. You see, you don't have to follow politics obsessively to notice that there is a very consistent belief system among many of the Democrats in power. When lack of law enforcement and blatant hypocrisy are your most defining attributes, your opponents are going to take advantage of this detail and use it against you. This was made very clear in a viral campaign ad made by Kim Klacik, a Republican politician who is running for a congressional seat in Maryland. In it, she is very adamant on Democratic leadership failing to produce positive results for the city of Baltimore. And this strategy works. Most Americans are tired of seeing cities, neighborhoods, and businesses burned to the ground while police are forced to stand by and do nothing, all while lefty politicians constantly scream, "Do as I say, not as I do." So Rachel Maddow bringing on Jenny Durkan, of all people, to talk about a reality check is hilarious. I fail to see how this segment would convince anyone that these city leaders are just victims of Trump's circumstances, or that pointing out their inability to run their city properly is somehow moot. Maybe if they spent less time fetishizing about their ideological war with Trump and instead focused more on governing their districts competently, Republicans wouldn't be so keen to slap them with this inconvenient truth. Anyways, folks, that'll do it for today's video. What's your opinion on the topic? Do you think that Democrats are justified in blaming Trump for their failures? Or do you think that the Republicans are relying on this talking point a little too much? Leave a comment down below. You know I read them all. If you like this video, leave a like. If you dislike this video, leave a dislike. And if there's nothing else, this is Immortal Afro Mega, and I'll see you on the next upload. Peace.